Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet and Crime, where I crochet and I tell true crime stories. Today we'll be talking about the shark arm case. So in this story, this is kind of like a not really known story, but it's like if people give you like names and stuff, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is the shark arm case. But yeah, so in this story there is a man by the name of Reginald Holmes, a man by the name of Jimmy Smith, and a man by the name of Patrick Brady. And if you don't know this case was based in Sydney, Australia, and it was like a huge deal back in the 1935. And like during the Great Depression and everything like that. And yeah, I would like to put a quick disclaimer. This story does go over like drug abuse. It does get kind of graphic with a few details here and there. And yeah, if you're not into any of this stuff, I suggest you click away from this video. And yeah, with that, let's get into it. In Sydney, Australia in 1935, an aquarium by the name of Coogee Aquarium and Swimming Baths was not doing the greatest, as it was smack dab in the middle of the Great Depression. The owner, Bert Hobson, was looking for something to get customers in, like the business was not going to be around anymore if he didn't find anything new or exciting to bring to his aquarium. While out fishing with his son, Bert caught a 14-foot tiger shark. Now, Bert was ecstatic, firstly because he caught a monster like 14 feet. That's huge. I mean, like, size doesn't matter. I'm sure the other sharks have a great personality. Now, Bert was excited because he finally had something exciting to show his audience and something, to really reel in this. I'm gonna restart that. Bert was excited because he finally had something exciting for his audience, something to really reel in these customers. He throws that bad boy in a tank. Tickets are selling, tickets are popping. He is as happy as a seagull when it finds a hot dog on the floor. But things took a turn really quick when the shark began to throw up things. It first coughed up a rat, and people laughed it off. They were like, oh, silly little guy. And then it puked up a bird. People were mildly concerned. And then a huge... Alright kids, I spent all of your college fund money and the rest of our rent money to get you here. Oh, that shark puked up the rat. Poor little fella. Oh, there goes a bird. Good for the shark, using his resources. Yeah, good for him. Oh, that's a human. That's a human. That's, Terry from Human Resources. Honey, time to go home. Yes, the mustache was necessary. Yes, people I might know will probably see this video. And yes, I regret it, because it is 2:30 in the morning. After the incident, the police were called and the shark was killed, and it was cut open to find any more remains so that they can hopefully find out, who died or who lost their arm. And with the newfound technology, the fingerprints were able to identify who it was, and it was a man by the name of Jimmy Smith. And Jimmy was a 45-year-old man who was described as a kind-hearted, lightweight boxer with no enemies in the world. He was just a sweetheart to everybody. Jimmy Smith worked for a man by the name of Reginald Holmes, and Reginald was a businessman. He worked on ships. He dealt with a lot of like shipping and other stuff like that. He owned a lot of boats, and Jimmy was a caretaker for one of the boats called the Pathfinder. And Reginald held a business behind closed doors, and it was a drug dealing business and an insurance fraud business. And he would scam people out of their supplies, and since Jimmy was an active, fairly fit dude, people would just give in to him since, like, they didn't want to be hurt, because, like, lightweight boxer, are you kidding me? Even if he was a lightweight, like, if I hear boxer as, like, if, like, you're describing somebody and they're, like, I hear the thing boxer, I am giving them my soul. I don't care if that is even impossible. I'm giving them my soul. Can't even fight a pigeon. Jimmy and Reginald were partnering up with a man named Patrick Brady, who started his crimes when he served in World War I and realized that he was pretty damn good at forging signatures from the generals, like the general signatures and stuff. And so they would write false checks from these military generals, and they would hand them out to their suppliers. And, well, that ship came crashing down when Reginald and Patrick argued over a signature, and their partnership went to shit, and that's when Jimmy began to blackmail Reginald. One night on April 7th, just a few days before Bert caught his prized shark, Jimmy and Patrick were drinking and playing cards together in the Cecil Hotel, which, by the way, the Cecil Hotel is enough to be its own video, and, like, that's how much crazy shit happened in that hotel. But anyways, the two guys were drinking and playing cards. After that, the two went to a small cottage that Patrick had owned, and this was the last location that Jimmy was seen alive. And a cab driver was, he even reported driving a very distraught and emotionless Patrick back into town. The cab driver also reported that Patrick seemed to be hiding something in his jacket, which we have reason to believe was in fact Jimmy's arm. And then Bert caught his prize shark, and on the 25th of April, the shark threw up the arm, and while all this was happening, Patrick was arrested on forgery charges. And when Patrick was asked, like, hey, so we know you've been partnering up with Jimbo, but what happened there? What happened there? You were like the last person to see him. And Patrick would not give any details about it. In fact, he implied that Reginald had something to do with it, and he implied that Reginald killed Jimmy. When police asked Reginald like all the questions and stuff like that, Reginald said he didn't know who Patrick was, which confused the police even more. A few days later, Reginald was seen in a speedboat with a bottle of alcohol and a pistol. From locals, they saw a drunken Reginald shoot himself in the head and fall into the water, and everybody was terrified, but they were even more concerned when Reginald climbed back into the boat, and still a bullet hole in his head, and he was driving the boat, and, like, erratically, may I add. A man with his children even almost got hit in their boat because of how crazy Reginald was driving. And again, he had a bullet hole in his head. Like, of course he was gonna, like, be freaking out, because he's like, oh my god, I survived that shit. What the heck? Police boats were chasing him for hours until they finally caught up to him, and he said somebody shot him in the head, and he thought that the police were the people who shot him, which was a little weird, but you know. Reginald told police that if they just left him, he would have killed Patrick, since, you know, he killed his buddy, his Jimmy. That makes him sound gay. He told police that Patrick had cut up Jimmy and put his body in the trunk and put that trunk in the ocean, and which that style is known as the Sydney send-off, which that's creepy as hell, because like it was that common back in the 1930s, 1920s, where people would just kill people, put them in a trunk, and then throw them in the ocean. It's like, it was like a huge thing back then, and yet there wasn't a lot of like cases about that. It was really weird because they couldn't find the killers, but they found the bodies. Really weird stuff. The police said that Reginald would be charged with accessory to murder unless he agreed to testify against Patrick. Reginald agreed, and on June 18th, when the trial was just about to begin and Reginald was on his way, he was shot 3 times in the chest while he was driving, and this time it was fatal. And without Reginald as a witness, the whole case was unorganized and stuff like that, and so Patrick was set free. And Patrick did end up passing away in 1975, and Jimmy's wife, she was not named, unfortunately. She said that she wanted to come out and say the truth, but as she publicly said that, just a couple days later she was in fact murdered in her own home, and nobody knows to this day who killed her, but she did die before Patrick did, like a few years before, so a lot of people were theorizing that Patrick was the one who killed her. But we'll never know. Never know. There were also a lot of theories saying that Reginald orchestrated the whole thing, and that he wanted to get revenge on Jimmy, since Jimmy did blackmail him in the beginning, or that like earlier on. And there's just a lot of theories surrounding this whole case, and this case actually did start out as a urban legend, and I took the urban legend idea from this comment right here. Thank you so much, by the way. And yeah, so it was a urban legend that turned out to be true, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm going to finish this up and I'll be right back. Alright, here is the somewhat finished product. This is a whole skein of yarn for a blanket that I'm attempting to make and hopefully finishing before summer, which hopefully I should, because it's only January and we still have 5 more months, right? I'm making that up. I don't know. It's 5 in the morning. Yeah, I recorded this at like 2, and I don't typically do a lot of the talking parts in one go. Sometimes I'm lucky enough, but sometimes my tongue just doesn't do the thing to talk like it's doing now. But then again, it's 5 in the morning because I did actually record this video, but my editing app was like, no, we're not gonna keep this footage, and then it deleted it, and I was like, well, shit. So yeah, that is the story for this week. It was actually really crazy, and whenever I looked it up, a lot of people were like, oh no, wait, this actually happened. But apparently this was like a really, really huge thing back in the 1930s. And yeah, thank you so much for this person for the recommendation. And they actually did get the first movie, little crime movie story thing. I still haven't came up with a name for that, but yes, that first movie was Home Alone, and that second movie was Child's Play, which I'm not sure if I described it well enough. I might have not, because sometimes my brain's like, oh yeah, this makes sense, and then it doesn't make sense to other people, but it makes sense to me. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't. But either way, yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Share with all your friends. Share with all the demons in your closet. What's up, John? Let's go. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Do not stay up until 5 a.m. Don't do it. It will actually make you regret living. But anyways, yeah, thank you. See you guys next week. Bye.